You're listening to Something Cheeky, a collection of podcasts where two sisters discuss TV, books, and movies with just enough irreverence and far too many pop culture references. Welcome to Something Cheeky, where we're discussing the movie Spider-Man: Homecoming. I'm Nikki.
I'm Rosanna.
This is part one of our coverage of Spider-Man, directed by John Watts, starring Tom Holland as Spider-Man, or Peter Parker, as of course we all know. Well, I've already seen this movie just this afternoon. Rosanna hasn't yet and doesn't know any spoilers. She's going to make predictions based on the synopsis and trailer, and then we'll watch the movie and discuss it. So, like I just said, I saw this movie just earlier today. I've been looking forward to it since Captain America: Civil War.
Me too.
When Spider-Man showed up, and he was so much fun. Just so adorable and funny and snarky, the way we all like our good Spider-Man to be.
And stole every scene he was in.
He really did, even though we saw his face like once in one scene of that movie. So like many people, I've had mixed feelings about Spider-Man movies over the years. This is the third version, the second reboot, since, well, I guess in the last 15 or 20 years. It's all been very close together. We started out with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, which the first movie was okay. It was kind of funny. Second movie was very strange. And then we got, was it Venom? The guy in all black, played by Topher Grace. That movie was insane. Tobey Maguire was good Spider-Man and bad Spider-Man. And the only thing they changed to make him bad Spider-Man was comb his hair over his face and give him a really stupid look.
Goth Spider-Man?
Yeah, it was, God, it was so bad. It was painful to watch. It made me cringe. It was like an episode of The Office, basically. Except not as fun. And then the second set of Spider-Man movies weren't bad. Andrew Garfield was pretty good. And I love Emma Stone. And the two of them together were really great. Because I think they did or they do date in real life, too. And the chemistry really worked. But they were just so-so. They had some funny parts. And he's fun to watch. But they just weren't exciting. And so when I first saw Spider-Man in the Avengers movie, or in the Captain America movie, it seemed like a real reboot. Like they weren't just making him the exact same character played by a different actor. It was finally something completely different. And I really like Tom Holland. We've talked about him before on our other podcast. He was in Billy Elliot the Musical, so he can dance. So he has the grace that Spider-Man needs. And he also did this amazing lip sync battle to Rihanna's Umbrella song. Which, if you have not seen this, stop and go watch it on YouTube because it is so good.
I've made so many people watch it.
And they all loved it, I'm sure.
They did.
There's something about Tom Holland. I think he's just the perfect person. He's been the person that should have played Spider-Man all along. They just had to wait for him to get old enough. That's all it was.
Because he was just a little kid.
Yeah. And the writing is so much better than the other movies. And so it made me really, really happy to see something that finally worked. Because this is arguably, at least for me, the most fun Avenger. I think he's so exciting to watch. He's always funny. He's got so many quips. He has way more quips than Iron Man has. He outquips Iron Man anytime. He's great. And so I was just waiting and waiting for this movie to come out. And it finally came out, and it lived up to all of my expectations. Yeah, I thought the editing was really amazing, too, which I never really thought about it much until recently on our Lady Pod Squad. It's a group of female podcasters that we're in a community with. A couple of them are film editors. It makes me really start paying attention to films, thinking about that and how they have to cut so much just to make it work and how all the pieces fit together. And this movie was tight. It was just, nothing was there that should have been cut. And that was really nice. All right, Rosanna, you ready for the movie synopsis?
Yes.
All right, this time it's from IMDb, the Internet Movie Database, which is where I get most of my information about movies and TV shows. All right, here we go. Several months after the events of Captain America: Civil War, Peter Parker, with the help of his mentor Tony Stark, tries to balance his life as an ordinary high school student in Queens, New York City, while fighting crime as his superhero alter ego Spider-Man as a new threat, the Vulture, emerges.
So it sounds just like Spider-Man usually does.
Every superhero movie.
I'm assuming, though, that this movie did not have him turning into Spider-Man since it's after Civil War.
Okay.
Unless there's like a flashback, which would be cool. Because even if we already know his origin story, it's still nice to see it when it's a new person, not just a new actor, but also a new script, a new director, you know, how they see the beginning of the story. So it would be nice if there was a flashback of his origin, but I don't know if there will be or not.
So it doesn't give us much about what happens, just that he's fighting crime. It does say the Vulture. Tell me what you think about the Vulture. Who is he? What does he want? What's his special power?
I don't know who the Vulture is. I've not heard that name before. I've never read the Spider-Man comics or Avenger comics. All I know is what I've seen from the movies. I'm gonna assume he flies.
Okay, not eats dead things? Or...
Well, I eat dead things. Don't you eat dead things? I mean...
I guess that's true.
Most people eat dead things. But I'm gonna guess, since it's Vulture, he's in flight. I don't know if that's a mutation, or if he has built himself some wings, or if he's been bitten by a radioactive vulture. Also, I don't know why he is causing a ruckus and why Spider-Man needs to take him on.
Give me your best guess as to what he wants.
He's probably mad at Tony Stark because it seems like everybody always is. So maybe they're teaming up together to protect Iron Man. No, that's not right. I mean, Tony Stark pisses off a lot of people. So
that's true, including his friends, as we saw in Civil War.
Yeah, he literally caused a war. I'm gonna guess that the Vulture is after Iron Man and Spider-Man is helping him.
Okay. Any other guesses? What about Spider-Man love interests or school? We're assuming he's still in school.
So I think that the idea is that he's 15 in the movie.
Yeah.
So, of course, he's still going to school. Marissa Tomei, I'm assuming, is making him go.
So you know Marissa Tomei is in it?
I do know
Oh, that's right,
that.
because she was in the other movie.
Yes. I have not seen a trailer for this movie specifically. All I know is what I saw in Civil War.
Okay.
And that our parents saw this movie yesterday and really loved it. That's kind of it. There'll probably be a love interest. There usually is. What is his love interest name? Mary Jane?
Yeah, MJ?
MJ.
Yeah, I think it's Mary Jane, but he called her MJ.
So MJ.
At least that's what I know from the previous Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, and I'll be really glad that it's not Kirsten Dunst, because
yeah.
Not a fan of her MJ at all.
Not so much.
It would be okay with me if the character of MJ was introduced but maybe didn't play a huge part, that the focus was more just on Spider-Man. I think sometimes movies rely too heavily on the romantic piece, or they feel like they have to give it more screen time than it necessarily needs. So I don't mind having it in there, but I don't want it to be distracting from the action, because that's why we go to see these movies, you know?
All right, any other predictions based on the synopsis?
No, of course not.
Are you ready to watch the trailer?
Yes.
Listeners, we'll put a link to the exact trailer that we're watching, because I think there were 3 total. We're going to watch trailer number 1, the first one that came out. We'll put a link to that in our show notes and on our website. All right, here we go.
The Hulk gives it away. Too late. Oh, not a hug. Good music. Oh, that must be Vulture. The wings. Sorry, the flying monster guy. Ooh, that's Batman. Oh, that looks super cool. Obviously, that wasn't actually Batman. It was Michael Keaton who played Batman.
I think it's funny that he also played, Birdman in a recent movie called Birdman?
I wouldn't call that movie recent.
It's like a year ago, right?
Well, I think it was more than that, wasn't it? I don't know.
I never actually saw it, so...
I haven't seen it either.
All right, so what do you think of the trailer?
I think it looks really good.
Yeah.
I'm excited to go see it tomorrow.
Tell me what you remember from the trailer and what you think about it.
So it looks like Peter's trying to get in with the Avengers, and he's fighting crime, small crime, around his neighborhood.
Okay.
Obviously going to school, has a friend, which is great to have a friend that knows who you are once he gets over the shock.
I'm actually sad that part was spoiled for you, because it's hilarious in the movie.
I'm sure I'll laugh at it tomorrow, too. Tony Stark did not hug him. He was just opening the door, which was funny. I like how he gave him really clear instructions about what he should and shouldn't do.
Small gray area in between do everything and nothing that I would do.
Yeah. I'm glad that that Tony Stark has a part in the movie. I assume that there wouldn't be a lot of Avengers, but I thought it would probably be him, just based on their interaction in Civil War.
Yeah. I will tell you one thing.
Okay.
About the movie that was really fun little recurring piece. There was one Avenger that pops up occasionally.
Oh, great.
Besides Iron Man.
Yay.
And it's fantastic.
I really like all the Avengers, so I'm excited that another one's coming. And I don't even really care which one it is. I'm just excited there's one of them. What else? So it looks like Michael Keaton is the Vulture, and he has wings. Metal wings, apparently.
Seems to. It's very, what was that? Professor Octomom or something? It was, Dr. Octo.
Did you say Professor Octomom?
That's... He had the 8 arms, the metal arms. What was his name?
The old Spider-Man movie. Yeah, I don't remember.
The old Spider-Man movie.
I do remember you're talking. He was like a spider.
Yeah, he was a very unexpected choice for a villain.
The actor was a strange choice too, but okay. It looked sort of like the police were trying to shoot at Spider-Man, which I feel strongly was a bad decision on their part. He's obviously super, super strong because he's pulling the 2 pieces of, what was it, a boat, maybe, together? Which we've seen him do in other movies, in other Spider-Man movies, use his web to pull things together to keep things from going apart. So obviously the webbing is extremely strong.
Yeah.
We saw a girl who was not MJ.
Correct.
I didn't catch what they called her. Laura?
Liz.
Liz, okay. Which is fine. You do you, boo-boo. Spider-Man, Peter. It was kind of weird that they noticed her clothes and that she wore them with different pieces. So
they might be paying a little too much attention to her.
Well, it's a little strange that they knew that the friend knew that she had worn the shirt, but she hadn't worn it with that skirt before. I don't know if they're like making notes or if the friend is really into fashion.
They have an app like on Clueless where she had pictures of her in every single outfit.
Where you flip the tops and bottoms till they match. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it was probably really hard for her to find a matching jacket, the yellow plaid, when she had a yellow plaid skirt that obviously came together. Why do we need a computer program for that? I don't remember what else was in there.
At one point we saw the Washington Monument.
Oh, so that's not New York.
That's correct. Unless they've moved it from Washington.
So I guess Peter is going to have to travel.
Appears that way.
I'm assuming that he's going to be traveling with Tony since he's 15. I doubt
he is quite young.
He's just going to go to Washington by himself. Not that you couldn't when you're 15. I just don't think he's going to. I have no idea how big Marissa Tomei's part is in this. I don't know if she's like somebody that you see when he goes home or if she goes places with him. I don't know how big her part is. I'm going to guess it's not super big. Though I do know that Tony flirted with her pretty hardcore in Civil War.
It's true. Do you think she knows that he's Spider-Man?
No.
Okay.
I don't think she knows, at least in the beginning. I don't know if she'll find out during the movie. It seems like it'd be hard to keep that from her since they live in an apartment.
You would think so, right?
Plus, if he's like, hey, I want to go to Washington, D.C. with Tony Stark, I can't imagine she's going to be like, have a nice time, dear. So it seems like that should come out. Maybe the Vulture kidnaps her, and that's why Peter goes after her. Maybe she gets involved in the conflict. Yeah, that's kind of what I got from the trailer.
Why do you think it's called Spider-Man Homecoming?
I never even questioned that. I have no idea.
That's why I'm here, to ask the questions that everyone wants to know. Everyone is dying to know why you think it's called Spider-Man Homecoming.
And also, the Spider-Man Homecoming would make perfect sense if this was the third movie in a set of Spider-Man movies.
It would, right?
But the first one does make it a little difficult.
Yeah.
Maybe he asks Liz out and they go to Homecoming? Maybe it has something to do with football or a dance?
Is it as literal as the titles of some of Scott Lynch's books, chapters?
That guy and his chapter titles. So Liz was hanging up a sign. Did the sign say Homecoming? I don't remember if it said Homecoming or Prom. I wasn't really paying attention to the sign.
You were too busy looking at her outfit, like the boys.
Yeah, trying to decide if her top and her bottom went together.
Uh-huh.
I think the sign might have said Homecoming.
Okay.
Is this movie really just about a 15-year-old boy going to homecoming?
It's just the span of a homecoming
Who
dance.
also happens to be Spider-Man.
He doesn't actually do any Spider-Man stuff. It's just Peter Parker at a dance the whole time.
His suit's pretty cool. I like the suit.
Yeah. I'm glad. I've seen there were, I think, 3 trailers, and some of the other ones show more about the suit, and I'm glad you didn't see that, because it's really fun to
really,
find out.
I know we said this with Wonder Woman too. I really feel like I really try to avoid trailers anymore because they give away way too much. It's like watching the movie. I hate it.
Yeah, I don't like it. If you had seen all 3 trailers, you would know the 4 big plot points in this movie.
What's the point in going to the movie then after that? Why do they do trailers like that? It's so frustrating. I like to be surprised. I don't know what's going to happen. I like not knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I just watched this a little bit because it didn't have a lot.
There were some really great trailers in front of the Spider-Man movie.
Oh, really? Ooh.
And I'm not sure if they send out the same trailers with all the copies of the movie that go out. I don't know.
I don't think so.
Oh, man. There was one for Black Panther.
Ooh.
It looks awesome.
Yeah, the thing, usually trailers that they show before a movie aren't too much. It's the ones they show on TV that they're too long. It's too much information. So, plus a lot of times the ones that I see in the theater, by the time it's time for the movie to actually come out, I forget what I even saw because it was so long ago.
I will tell you one thing about an actress who's in the movie, just a cameo. You'll just have to pay attention and see if you ever find her. Jennifer Connelly.
Really?
I didn't even recognize her.
Really?
I read about it somewhere and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And then when that came up, I was like, oh, I guess that is her, isn't it?
Is she a bad guy? Oh, I love when people like that are bad guys.
I totally did not recognize her at all when she popped up. It took me a few minutes before I was like, oh, that is her. Oh my God, that must be the cameo they were talking about.
Oh, cool. I'll have to remember to watch for her.
Yeah. Oh, my husband Ed wanted me to make sure you knew that this movie wasn't a regular Spider-Man movie. It turns out that Spider-Man is really just the fever dream of a man dying from a spider bite.
That sounds like something your husband would say. I guess if you're gonna die from a spider bite, this would be a nice hallucination to have on your way out.
It's basically a truncated Lost.
Sure. But no, that's not what it was. But yes.
No smoke monsters in this one, though.
Ah, the smoke monster.
Let's talk more about the villain.
Okay.
Now that you've seen him and you've actually heard him talking some, what do you think is his raison d'etre? What's his reason for being a villain? What does he want?
Usually I think villains are driven by revenge. You know, the same way that Tony Stark was, quote-unquote, responsible for the death of...
everyone in Wachovia? Or...
Yes. So, how he was responsible for the death of everyone in... Was it Wachovia? That's not right.
Where was Age of Ultron? That was Wachovia,
Is that what
right?
It's called Wachovia?
Because they had the Wachovian Accords.
So, how Tony Stark was, quote-unquote, responsible for all the people that died in Wachovia. Maybe he's also responsible for somebody related to the Vulture's death. That seems to be kind of what everybody hates him for. Which I don't think is fair. That's not fair to him.
Mm.
But that's a whole other discussion.
So you think that something Tony did 2 movies ago is carrying over into Peter Parker's movie? That sucks for Spider-Man.
I'm going to guess it has something to do with the Avengers, one of the Avengers, all of the Avengers, something that they've done, maybe even still in the aftermath of the Wachovian Accords.
Any last predictions for what Spider-Man might be or might have? Is there anything that you hope to see in this movie, be it a full plot point or a certain kind of scene or a specific type of action? Anything? I will say one thing that I really, really enjoyed about this Spider-Man is that Peter Parker seemed pretty human and really relatable in ways that previous Spider-Mans have not. They wrote him very authentically for what you'd expect from a teenager. When in the other movies, the other movies just seemed to write him as exactly what their actors were, which were like 25-year-old guys pretending to be in high school. And granted, Tom Holland is like 20 or 21 or something. But they actually make him seem like he is really the age he's playing.
Which is good, but 15-year-old boys, I mean, they're horrible. Honestly, the great thing about Spider-Man movies is just Spider-Man doing his thing. You know what I mean? It's so much fun.
Swinging around.
Yeah, it's so much fun to watch him go from building to building, to move with so much agility, especially when you're talking about Tom Holland, who is so graceful. I mean, he's
got the moves.
What a great idea to pick a dancer for this part.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, great idea. So yeah, I'm super excited about just seeing his scenes where he's just Spider-Manning out. I love me some Robert Downey Jr., so I'm super jazzed that he's in it, and I hope he has a lot of scenes.
See, I was worried that this would be like another Iron Man movie.
Ah.
And I didn't want that.
Right.
I was going to say about Spider-Man's agility. I wonder, because I don't think it's actually been made clear. We know that when he got bitten by the spider, he got extra strength and all that. But did the agility come with it, or did he already have that? Because if a radioactive spider bit me, and I could suddenly shoot webs, I would probably be, like, missing them and not hitting what I was supposed to, because I have horrible hand-eye coordination. Much less wrist-eye coordination.
And I guess that also depends on which Spider-Man you're talking about, because Tobey Maguire, when he first changed, he was knocking stuff over and breaking stuff left and right.
It's true. He
had to get into it. It took him practice. So I guess probably what you need to do is go back to the comics and see if you get an indicator from there if the agility came with it.
Listeners, if you know the answer, let us know.
Oh, yeah.
Tweet us.
Love to hear some background if somebody out there reads or has read the Spider-Man comics.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got, stuff to fill in these points that we don't know or that the movie doesn't address, please let us know. That would be super cool information. What I would like in a movie that, I'm assuming there are going to be more movies, more Spider-Man movies?
I think he's signed on for 5 total.
Wow.
Including Spider-Man specific and other MCU.
Okay. What I like about a movie that when they're making it, they already are planning on having another one. I like to get a resolution, but then also I like when it sort of sets up the next movie. So I don't want it to be a cliffhanger, but I also don't want it to be what feels like the end.
What I've read is that each of the specific Spider-Man movies, he'll be a different year in high school.
Interesting.
So right now I think he's a sophomore. I think there are 3 total Spider-Man movies that are going to be. And he'll be in Avengers Infinity War, I think it's called.
And I wonder at what point in time that's going to be.
Yeah, I'm not sure. There's a whole chart on the timeline of all the different Marvel movies and how they interconnect.
Yeah, I really feel like I should try watching them chronologically.
Yeah, I still need to see the second Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes, you do need to see that. Also, have you ever watched Batman vs. Superman?
I haven't. I need to see that
still. Swear to God, Nikki. Here are 3 things that you need to do. The first thing you need to do is watch Batman vs. Superman. The second thing you need to do is listen to the Schuyler sisters from the Hamilton soundtrack. I mean, you should listen to the entire soundtrack, but you should start with that one. And the third thing you need to do is see Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
All right.
That's your to-do list.
I have homework.
You do have homework.
So, Rosanna, your homework is to go watch Spider-Man Homecoming.
I would have done so well in school if that was my homework.
I will tell you this one thing so you're prepared.
Okay.
There are 2 post-credit scenes.
Excellent. Thank you for telling me that, because I never know if I can go to the bathroom or not.
A whole bunch of people left, and I'm like, they're going to miss something. Because there's one after like the animated credits with the main actors.
Uh-huh.
And then they have a scene, and then it has like the full black and white credits, which take forever.
Right, yeah.
And then it has the second post-credit scene. All right, Rosanna's going to go watch the movie now. We'll see you in part 2 of our Spider-Man Homecoming coverage. La, 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 la.